You are listening to Within Tolerance, a podcast for machinists by a machinist. I'm your host, Dylan Jackson of Protein Machining, and this week I am very happy to welcome Jamie Peacock. How's it going, Jamie?
How's it now? Good, and you?
Good. So I think that maybe a lot of my listeners probably listen to you and Kurt's podcast, The Lone Machinist, but if they don't, give us the rundown. Who are you? What is JSpec Engineering? All that good stuff.
Sweet. So, I'm Jamie from JSpec Engineering. The short story is I got annoyed with my boss and decided to start my own machining company back in 2018, end of 2018. And then beginning of this year, I decided to start a podcast. Initially started with John from 2SM Performance. He makes billets, clutch covers for 250cc dirt bikes. Mm-hmm. And then a few episodes in, he had to leave the podcast, so ended up getting Kurt in as the co-host. And then, Kurt and I just chat. For me, it's on Monday evening. For him, it's like Monday mid-morning. We just catch up on what's happened in the week. The idea behind the Lone Machinists podcast is we are lone machinists. Both of us are one-man shops with no real intention of getting employees. So, it's just the day-to-day of us like catching up in the week, what we've been up to, what's come up in the shop, things like that. And, trying not to encourage each other to build our DIY machines and projects, because both of us have a tendency to just go down rabbit holes.
I was going to say, I think you both are more enablers than preventing, but
you would be surprised how much prevention actually happens off the podcast, because both of us will just run with the project.
And then what about JSpec Engineering? What do you guys kind of do and specialize in?
Yeah, so we started out as a prototype shop. Quickly learned that people in South Africa don't like spending money, so pivoted towards production. And then, I built the Sister Slowio, which is my milling machine, in the last year where I was working. I basically told my boss, hey, I want to build a machine so I can mess around on weekends, and built myself an exit strategy. And then ran that for 5 years, and that got me to the point that I could buy the LK in the beginning of last year, which was a significant machine purchase. And that quite literally changed my life, buying a proper machine tool. Turns out when you've got a good hammer, hitting nails is really easy. And so with that, I wanted a pallet system. So I didn't really want to buy one because, it was poor and cheap. So I developed the Anchor Point, which is our quick change pallet system, pneumatic quick change pallet system that we've developed and gone to market with. I'm currently in the process of putting 5 of them in my machine. I was making the linking plates yesterday. So there's a precision linking plate where all the balls are nice and tight. You basically put all the anchor points into that, then bolt those to the riser, and then everything is all spaced and squared. But I had a job that had to be done over the weekend that used the old riser in my machine. So I've only now just gotten around to putting 4 anchor points in the machine. And then it works similarly to the Shunk Vera S style system where you've got multiple pucks that you can span. So I've got 4 that span for my two little 4-inch vices, and then you take those off and you can use them individually as well.
Awesome. Yeah, so, I want to get more into the background on that and how you came up with it, but let's step it all the way back. How did you get into manufacturing in general?
So I went to what is colloquially known as a Rome school, or an ice cream school, where the kids go with the ice cream because they're daft. Technical high school. Okay. So since I was small, my dad was always like, 10th grade, you're going to a technical high school, going to George Campbell. He wanted to go there. He wasn't able to when he was growing up. He was family with 5 kids. And I think just the commute to and from school would have been a bit of a problem for them. So come end of grade 9, my school said, please leave, or you redoing grade 9. So I ended up getting into George Campbell with a pretty good technical aptitude. And unfortunately, I was the first year in South Africa to go through what was the new education system, which has now changed 3 times since. And when it came to our technical subject, it used to be you could choose fitting and turning for the year, Motor Mech, Technica Mechanica, which is just a bunch of maths. I think that those were the 3 options. When I got there, they split it. They added another one. I called it nuts and bolts, where you literally just learnt about fasteners and stupid shit. And every term you moved from one. So they had 4 groups, and every term you would go to a different one. So you spent a term in Motor Mech, you spent a term in fitting and turning, a term in Technica Mechanica, and a term learning what nuts and bolts are. And I did that for 3 years, for grade 10, 11, and 12, along with technical drawing. And I dropped science in grade 11, which was, in retrospect, a bit of a mistake. But in 10th grade, I spent the whole year on my cell phone in science. So I was failing. So I took CAT, got distinctions in that, got distinctions in technical drawing, and then studied drafting, because it was literally all I could study. Like, my only study option was to do drafting. Turns out drafting's really easy and really mind-numbing. So did really well in that, got my N4 and 5 in drafting, mechanical, electrical, and civil drafting, and then went to find a job and couldn't find a job. So I went into sales, selling lifting equipment for a year, and then out of the blue got a phone call from call him my uncle, will be easier. It's my grand cousin's son. Got a phone call from him, like, you need to fly to Johannesburg this weekend. This guy will pay for your flight to come up for an interview, please. So I flew up to Joburg, had an interview, flew back down, got some correspondence back. The guy's like, cool, we want to offer you the drafting position, but we want a 5-year commitment from you. Because they'd had staff turnover, like guys would come in for a year and a half, 2 years, learn a whole bunch, and then leave. And this had happened like 3 or 4 times before I pitched up. So they're like, no, they want a 5-year commitment. I'm like, sounds like a plan to me. I'm moving from Durban to Joburg. It's a good, like, 450 miles. That works for me. I got a 5-year commitment. So I moved up to Joburg, started as the draftsman there, and then got into flying RC planes and helicopters and things, and wanted to machine some parts. And there was a big Sigma 3-axis mill that just wasn't being used. So I got them to teach me how to use that, like just the basics. That was still hand coding everything, like on an old Fanuc OM. Learned to run that, then started running production on that machine. And then my boss got a deal on the sister Kitamura to the one we had. We had a Kitamura X3, my Center X3, and then he got a deal on the sister machine. They'd both been brought into the country by his old boss for Smith's Wheels. And yeah, he got a deal on that. So they literally scrapped the Sigma out. They couldn't sell it. They scrapped it out, pulled the servos off, sold the servos, and just scrapped the frame. And then we set the Kitamura up with, I set it up with actual tool libraries and stuff. And that's where I got into Fusion. And then by the time I was done there, I ended up running basically the milling department. The other Kitamura became a grinding machine. So we put a spindle on it and a cup wheel, and we're grinding the high precision chucks we were making for measuring alloy rims. And during this, they bought a wire cutter, and smart-ass Jamie learned to run the wire cutter, and then no one else could run the wire cutter. So I ended up moving into a role there. So from draftsman, I moved into a role as wiring machines and going to site to install machines, which was fun in the beginning, but gets very old very quickly. And then while I was overseas, my boss employed 2 draftsmen. So I came back to having 2 underlings. So I was, at that point, the lead designer. So I would do the design work, then just pass off the model and like put bolts and make drawings was their jobs. But while I'm doing that, I'm running the wire cutter. I'm running production on the mill. I was heading overseas to install machines. It was a total shit show. And yeah, the gist of it, the biggest thing I learned from there is if you're going to sell a machine, make sure you have a service department, because they actually shut down 2 months ago. They closed their doors.
Oh, wow.
They went a lot longer than I thought they would after I left. But they put themselves in a key man situation. And they were fortunate in when I left, one of my colleagues picked up the slack quite heavily. He was employed as a workshop person. He ended up overseas. He had never been hired as someone who would travel, and he ended up picking up my slack and going overseas because he's very capable mechanically. So he picked up my slack when I left. And yeah, about a year after I left, he left because his son finished high school and he didn't need the job anymore. He could afford to go do his own thing as well. And he was tired of being effectively abused. Like, I would get to work on a Monday and my boss would be like, oh, you're going to Germany tonight? Cool. For how long? No, until the work's done. So then I'd be overseas for 2 weeks. Yeah. And that became a regular occurrence. And in 2018, in January, I was like, listen, I'm getting engaged to my girlfriend, like, who's my wife now. We're getting engaged. I need some stability. I'm making plans on the weekend and I can't go to family events because I can't commit to anything. I don't know if I'm going to be here. And my boss was like, okay, no, we'll do something. And then I think it was August. He was like, oh, can you go to Brazil to fix one of our balancing machines?
Jeez.
And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I had lots of notice. It was like a whole week before I had to go to Brazil. And he could see, like, a few days later, he could see that I was just unhappy. And he called me into his office that afternoon. He's like, I can see you're a bit unhappy. I'm like, yeah, I told you I don't want to be traveling. I'm traveling. He's like, if you're unhappy, you can always resign and move on. And I was like, that is it. Next day, resignation letter. Don't make insincere gestures at me. Because he was renowned for making insincere gestures. I mean, I had to stand next to him in front of a customer while he's like straight up just lying about progress on machines and stuff. And at that point, I just had enough. I was planning on resigning in the next few months after that because my wife was getting recontracted and she was going to be able to pay our bills. Like at that point, she had been studying. She had gotten a job, but it was through where she studied. So she was making like next to no money and she was coming up for a recontract. And at that recontract, she would be earning more than I was. And I could then afford to resign and she could take the bills. And that's what happened. She got recontracted the month because I gave them 2 months notice. So we looked up the laws. If I give 2 months notice, they have to accept it or they have to pay me out for it.
Oh, wow.
I stuffed around there. Yeah, that's our labor law here. We looked it up before I resigned. So I worked there for 2 months. I'm like, I will train somebody, but I will not write a single thing down. And in those 2 months I was there, they sold the wire cutter, wouldn't tell me where it was going. They were just like, no, after you leave, the wire cutter's going. I'm like, cool, I don't really care. I'm not going to be here.
Right.
And I left there on the last day of October in 2018. I had lined up some work already with the guys behind my boss, behind that factory, and did a retrofit for them of a Bridgeport mill. And then went out on my own, and about 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from one of my biggest customers now. They were like, hey, we bought the wire cutter, because obviously I had relationships with all the customers, because I used to deal with everybody.
Right.
So I knew them. I knew them in passing. And they phoned me, hey, we got a problem with the wire cutter. Could you please come through and assist us? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Here's the call out fee. Cool, come. Like, please help us. Got that running. And then from there, developed that relationship. And I make the talk spits for them. I've made, I think, 18,000 of those, somewhere around there at this point.
Wow.
10,000 of those were on the Slow-Yo, which is hilarious.
Jeez. So a couple of things of note there.
Yes.
I'm very surprised how prevalent Kitamura seems to be in South Africa, because you've talked about it now. Clive Murphy from Power Break has a few. It seems like it.
I can tell you why.
Yeah, why? Yeah, why?
Because WD Hearn sells them. WD Hearn is awesome. So they're the agents. Yeah. So back in high school, I went to high school with Dylan, who is one of their apps engineers. He's their metrology guy. He does all their calibrations on CMMs and things. And I get to hear lovely stories of people crashing CMMs and they're claiming they haven't crashed them. It's friggin' hilarious. But yeah, he works for WD Hearn. And yeah, they do Kitamura, they do Leadwell. They've actually got two companies. They've got WD Hearn. Because we live in Africa, we've got WD Hearn, owned by a white guy. Then they've got Lead Machine Tools, which is owned by the receptionist and one of the guys in the workshop, technically. So they qualify as a BEE company. They bring in the Zappo machines, the Sino machines. There's a couple other brands. Like they're basically competing with the Kitamura and the Leadwells, just at a lower price point. So same capabilities, but a Chinese machine versus a Japanese or Taiwanese machine. So like the LK comes from WD Hearn, but the company is effectively, the two companies are owned by one person. The shareholders are split up so that they can tender for work with the government because you need to, because
it's the same way people do it here, where they have their wives as the majority stakeholder, so that they're a woman-owned, or something like that. Yeah,
there's a lot of that shenanigans that goes on here. I have to have paperwork for that. Technically, white dude in a garage. It's, do you want the work done or not? That's what it comes down to. We last year November, we quoted a job for our local train guys. And my one friend got the RFQ. We worked through it. We spent a lot of time planning the job. We didn't want to say, yes, we can do it. And then they give us the order and we now, So we looked, okay, we need to put down 3 machines for this. We need to run 24/7 with 3 shifts. Like, we planned out the whole thing. And then we heard nothing. He ended up going to a meeting, or called in for a meeting with the guys, I think like 2 months or 3 months later. They're like, no, come for a meeting with all the vendors. And then they're like, no, we're going to go discuss this over lunch. He's like, listen here, here's the quote. If you want the work done, phone us. I'm not wasting my time with you guys anymore. Here's our price. End of story. Because they'll just string you along for a year getting free lunches out of the deal. And yeah, we just had enough of it. Like, it actually put us both in a very bad position at the end of November, where we had spent way too much time on that and not enough time on our actual work. That end of November, we came up short. So yeah, I know tough. I don't even entertain tender work. It's like, just go away.
So the next question I had from where we are in the story, you mentioned that you moved into wiring machines. Was that also dealing with PLCs and retrofits? Because listening to your podcast, like, you're one of the few people in the Instant Machinist community who's just like, yeah, just throw a Linux CNC at it. Who gives a shit? Just like, what are you talking about? This is easy. This is a piece of cake. It's not to most people. So where did you learn those skills? Because as of yet, I mean, you literally just said like, yeah, I started wiring machines and then, oh yeah, I left and then did a retrofit for the people behind us. So where did you learn those skills?
So to quote Aaron from CNC Repairman, I'm apparently a unicorn.
Yeah.
With regards to finishing retrofits. So growing up, I don't think now, this must have been in somewhere between 8th grade and matric, somewhere there. My parents bought a house and we built a really nice garage. It was a triple garage in length, except the doors were on the narrow side. So we could park the truck and then still have space. And my dad was like, I'm tired of sharing a workbench. That's now your workbench. So he gave me a workbench in there. And then I did all sorts. I used to build coil guns. We built rockets in school holidays, all sorts of fun stuff. So I picked up a knack for electronics back then. And then we were building, what do they call, friction welders. When I started where I used to work, I literally got given a CAD drawing that was just a few lines, and I had to build out the whole thing. Like, it had been built, it was on the floor built. I had to now go back and make drawings for everything. And we had Omron come in, they were doing the programming for us, and the machines needed wiring. And I'm like, how hard can it be? So I just climbed in and started wiring stuff. And yeah, apparently I can wire machines. I mean, we did a wheel measuring machine. We did all the mechanics, and then one weekend we climbed in, did all the wiring to the control cabinets, all the sensors, everything, all the pneumatics in 2 days. Machine wired and running. Like,
wow.
In my mind, electricity is easy. It's like plumbing. Like, it's connect from here to there.
Right.
Like, it's a wire.
But what about dealing with like the PLCs and the controllers?
We had a guy. I think he's still, I wouldn't say works for them. He has them by the balls and they don't really have a choice because he programmed everything in Delphi and no one can program in that anymore. So he kind of owns them. And then we used to use Siemens stuff lots. So the Siemens PLC side, he used to handle the PLC side. I used to handle the wiring and the mechanicals for him. So, and then I did get into PLC programming a bit. Towards the end of my stay there, we ended up getting, I'm trying to remember, I think it was some Omron PLC jobs where we just got a PLC and simple stuff, just program it in ladder. Not like, my programming skills are lackluster. My wife gets very angry when she looks at my code because I just, she studied Java and can actually program things worth a damn. I'm just like, if statement, if statement, if statement, if statement, like nested if statements. Even my code on the LK, I made some code that automatically runs, like you set a variable in the top and it runs different sections. And that's literally just go-tos, which I got heavily judged for. But if it's dumb and it works, it is still dumb as you put it, but it works.
Yeah, but it works. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. What we would call spaghetti code, I guess, where it's like, exactly. One step away from not working, but it works.
Yeah. And what we learned recently is ChatGPT is beyond useless with code.
It certainly can be. Yeah.
That maker got super frustrated. We did some buttons for the restaurants up the road that we did our quiz night at, and we wanted to add functionality. So she added the functionality, then the lights were the wrong color. Asked ChatGPT to just change the light color, and it like took all of her logic out of the code. So she was shouting at it and telling it was dumb. But yeah, that's the only problem with using ChatGPT to vibe code is it does things you don't intend.
Yep, and then it loses its mind, and you rage quit, and the project never gets done. I've been there.
Some things it's literally just programmed by hand.
Yeah. All right. So back to your story. Keep it going. How do we get to where we are today?
Okay. Okay, so then, I left at the end of 2018. Went out on my own, did a retrofit of a Bridgeport machine behind where I used to work, and then ended up spending about a year and a half just pottering around in the garage because the bills were paid. So I used that time to finish the Slowio, because when I left, I hadn't finished the way covers, hadn't finished the enclosure. Spent that time just getting myself towards myself. Just before I left, Danica bought me a lathe. She bought a manual lathe for me because every workshop needs a manual lathe. So at the time, I had a manual lathe, I had the Slowio, I had my router, and I had my really bad laser cutter. And then I got a couple jobs. My brother sent me a job to build a fishing braid test machine. So effectively, stepper motor pulling a piece of braid against the load cell. There was a bit more to it, but that was the gist of it. And that I actually went down a few years later. I went down to Durban to see my brother, and I was chatting to his boss. I'm like, hey, have you used that thing? He's like, that thing enables us to actually compete, because they were bringing fishing braid in from China. They would order samples, test, and I'm like, okay, cool. On the 30 pound, we can use the green, the pink, and the yellow. Don't use the green. The green's breaking strength is not correct. And they could actually go through and test everything on the machine I built them. And then they wanted a fishing rod tester, so I built weird shit for them. But yeah, that braid tester got cash into the business, enough cash that I could build my CO2 laser. So then capabilities expanded. And then we started making, then COVID happened, which was great fun because the wife was still being paid. So I could sit and play video games all day. And then I got into making ventilators, which I still haven't been paid for some of that. I was like, I'm done. I'm done trying to get my money out of these people. It was like a couple $100. I was just like, you know what? Let them have it. Like, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm. And
then she got retrenched just after COVID. So then in the span of 2 months, it went from Jamie playing games in his garage to making +2 shoes for the Glock 43 and for the Glock 19. And that we limped through with that, and then started expanding like job shop work stuff and actually becoming profitable. And since then, we've pretty much been profitable.
Awesome. So the gun stuff, is that a product you already had and you just pushed it harder, or how did that come about?
We were slowly R&Ding it, and then we needed it, so we pushed hard and pushed it out. In 2 months, we went from zero to hero. And in that time, we also brought anodizing in-house. I saw there were some questions about anodizing. Yes. But yeah, in that time span, I'd been messing with anodizing for about a year before that. And then I bought some dyes in. I bought like the proper stuff in to be able to anodize those, because I sent a sample out with clear instructions of a rack internally, and I got claw marks on the outside of my pot. So I was like, cool, I will just do this in-house. This is not even worth trying. And then, yeah, we sold quite a bunch of those in the beginning, which was not pleasant because the Slowio with a 12mm end mill sticking out like 40mm it's not rigid enough for that. But I made it work. Lots of Scotch Brighting, and then anodized those. And then, yeah, rolled into another 2 or 3 mag bases we made. And then, yeah, picked up on the job shop side, making torque splits like those. We did 1,000 a month for just on a year. I had that pretty dialed. We were down to just over a minute per torque split. Wow. We would cut them on the saw, and then they would get loaded in fixtures, and it was just over a minute per thing. It's now 44 seconds or something. Like, we've cut it right down on the LK. And my tool life was like way better. But yeah, we ran a lot of those. That paid the bills for many months. Like, I could rely on that work every month. 1,000 of those, that was enough to just cover the bills. And then beginning of last year, we were doing that. Then I started doing what everyone does, mill turning. So putting a piece of material in your spindle and turning. And I was making dummy rounds. And then spoke to a guy who was like, oh no, he's really keen. And then I got a deal on Bertha. So I picked Bertha up for like $1,000. It looked like it had been stored under the ocean. It arrived here. I stripped it. I think all in, I was in for about $2,500.
Awesome.
Retrofitted.
So, describe what Bertha actually is, because you call her Bertha all the time, and I don't think. Okay. I think like even me as a listener to your podcast, I'm like, I know it's a lathe, but like I don't know what it is.
Okay, it's an Alex Tech gang lathe.
Okay.
Out of Taiwan from 2001, if I'm not mistaken. The data plate's somewhere there. It ran a hard life. Like, it made, as far as I can tell, it made 40mm mortar rounds or mortar shells. because I found one in the coolant tank. It ran hard. Basically, it ran to the point that something in the panel on the Mitsubishi controller died, and they just scrapped the machine out and put a new machine in because it had paid for itself long ago. I picked it up super cheap and then did the retrofits on that. That was the first big retrofits I did. But I did that on such a tight budget that it's not as good as it could be because I retrofitted on such a budget, but that's fine. It does the thing.
Right. Well, your lack of e-stop condition story from 2 episodes ago was...
That was exciting.
Yeah.
It's actually the first time that's happened, surprisingly. But that's because I replaced the motor that was on the X-axis finally died. That was a second-hand motor that I had left over from another job I did, one of my learning experiences. And I sped the rapids up when I put the bigger motor in, but it didn't appreciate that. So it tripped out and fed a bar out at 2,000 RPMs and spun around to the point that the wife felt it in the house and came to see that I was alive.
Yeah, it sounds truly terrible. Like that is the nightmare fuel that chases every lathe operator, I think.
Yeah, so now that's all properly integrated. It's a bit tricky to integrate because the signals get noisy if you're not careful, and then you trigger erroneously. And the problem is when it triggers the e-stop, it resets the alarm. So you can chase yourself in circles quite extensively. I know this because I've done it. Where I've chased myself in circles for days trying to figure out what the hell the machine was running. Now it's stopped in an e-stop and there's no alarm. So, like you go look at the drives now, the drives are faulted because they've reset.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Took me a long time to figure.
By the way, side note, every time you mentioned MagBase for the longest time, I thought you were making like Noga competitors, and I was like, why is he making MagBases? Like, this seems like a very low cost, very little money in it. And then like at some point you mentioned Glocks, I think, and I was like, those mags. Okay, I got it now.
So we call them base pads,
Yeah.
But now I do them for a bunch. I skipped over one thing. I did a Kickstarter back in the day for the bolt belt. And that actually, the Kickstarter there, we sold, I think about 50 or 60 of them. And that got me the cash flow to upgrade my anode setup. And then I bought a whole bunch of dies. If you're going to do anode, just buy the Caswell dies. Don't play games. But the rest of the things, everything else can be jankified and works shockingly well. It's on the docket to make a video of my anode setup and my process because lots of people are asking questions about it because it is pretty reliable.
Oh, the bolt belt's pretty cool. I just pulled it up.
Yes.
That's really cool.
I've got magnets arriving in the next 2 weeks or so. I'm thinking of doing another run of them.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very neat.
Magnetic quick release belt. I think mine's released 3 times accidentally, and that's when like I've stood up against something sharp and it's unhooked. Otherwise, it holds. And I lucked out on that design. So that was version 2. Version 1 I printed. I changed the design a bit, and then I wanted to go to a third revision, and I made it longer each side by like 4 millimeters, and then it doesn't stay latched.
Really?
Like they're far enough apart that it just unlatches. As soon as you click it and you sit down on something, it unlatches. I just totally lucked out on that design, and it works perfectly. Because obviously we did some testing and pulled my bucky with it, which really isn't hard. Like in the video, it looks impressive. I'm literally holding a string with one hand, pulling my truck backwards.
Right.
It doesn't take a lot of force, but it looks impressive. So we did that Kickstarter. Then I think when I got Bertha, we released the frame lock utility knife Kickstarter. But I was stupid and I was doing it anyway. I just set the Kickstarter goal too high. I should have set it way lower that it would. So the trick there is to have it be successful in the first like 2 or 3 hours. And then Kickstarter start promoting it and then it gets lots of traction. Whereas if it takes long to be successful, they don't promote it. So it wasn't successful. I still made them and sold a bunch of them. I don't know if I gave you one at IMTS last year.
I don't think so.
No,
I would have remembered
arranged
that.
one to be.
Yeah.
I'll get one sent to you then. We'll send it with the post from the UK because all my stock sits in the UK with my best friend.
Smart.
That way, shipping out of South Africa is just a shit show. So I sent in bulk to him and then he forwards on of the knives.
Very smart.
Although we have that somewhat sorted out now. So then I bought, was roughly around the timeline when I got Bertha. And then, Bertha lathes are money printers. Like, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. They are money printers. I ran a job. We made parts for lawnmowers. We made like 4,000 of those. The machine was running 13-hour days, like a month after I got it, and just shitting parts out. And then, we've done all sorts of weird stuff on that lathe, and I'm looking to replace it now. But yeah, it's a bit of a. We don't need a giant lathe. I don't have the power for a giant lathe because for some reason everyone thinks you need 100 horsepower on a lathe when 3 kilowatts is more than adequate for what I do. Right. Most of the stuff I do is the biggest part I regularly need to make is 70 millimeter diameter. Like, all of my production stuff is smaller than that. Mm-hmm. Even the anchor points pad is like 60 something millimeters. So I'm looking at a smart lathe, but we'll get into that later on. Yeah, that's actually been very interesting chatting to those guys in China about those lathes. And then we picked up one of our bigger customers. They do diesel sensors. They have recently been informed that the reason they're having issues is that they have no documentation for any of the parts that I manufacture, and that they can't actually reject anything I deliver because there are no drawings. Right. So we're in the process of explaining to them that they need to buy the drawings off of us, or buy 5,000 of everything, and then they can have their drawings. I made samples of those parts, and then I found the MCO around the time I was doing samples. And I told the guys at the place I bought the MCO, I'm like, if anyone looks at my machine, you phone me, I'll come and buy it now. I don't have the cash to buy it, but I'll make a plan. Like, it wasn't a lot of money, it was like $750, but like that needed to be spent elsewhere. Right. And they phoned me about 2 months later or 3 months later. I started buying motors, the controller. I had a simulated turret on my table upstairs, getting all that code working before the machine ever hit my floor. So I then got a phone call, and they're like, hey, someone's looking at the machine. I'm like, I will see you tomorrow morning. Phone my friend. I'm like, dude, we need the trailer, and I need to borrow some money. And he's like, no problem, because he said to me, if we need to get it now, just phone him, he'll lend me the money. Phoned him. I'm like, can we pick up tomorrow? He's like, I'll see you in an hour's time. They phoned me. We were there 2 hours later with the machine on the trailer and leaving.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that, and then we got a chair, and I built an A-frame. So like, I'd done all the prep work. I built an A-frame to be able to offload it. Had bought the motor. I had the axis motors. I had the spindle motor drive, the control cabinet pretty much built. And we got a chair, and the A-frame was too short.
No.
Yeah. Proceeded to remove all the sheet metal so that we could lift the thing enough to get it off the trailer. And then proceeded to strip it, clean it thoroughly, and then sent all the covers off for powder coating, and they lost the door jamb. Adamant that I never delivered. I'm like, dudes, here's the delivery notes. The parts had tags on them. Like, don't tell me there were only 7 parts. There were 8 tags. They were called out here. And they just straight up denied ever getting it. So I ended up having one laser cut out of 3mm stainless, which was a good call because the door jamb always gets ruined on machines.
Oh, yeah.
And then, got that back together. As I got it together, it paid for itself that month. I got the first order from the diesel guys, and the machine literally paid for itself that month. And that has made thousands and thousands of PTFE and brass components for them.
Amazing. That's so cool.
And also parted off like 2,000 or 3,000 pieces of hex bar. It sounds horrible. Like, Danica hates it now. I optimized the job till it's like you can't walk away. Oh. It's 1.5 minutes per bar. You put a bar on.
She loves that. Yeah.
Audiobook and do 1,000 parts in a day. But that's how we're now blanking off the torque splits that we make. Is just cut them into 1/2 meter bars and just let it chamfer the back and part off. And then she'll stand there and do that for like an afternoon, and then I have 1,000 pieces to machine. But yeah, that was the next acquisition. Actually, no, it wasn't the next acquisition. I bought Connie, the Condia power mill, before I bought, because I got a deal on that as well. Was going to retrofit it, and then I needed the MCO, so I bought the MCO, retrofitted that, and the Condia sat in my workshop for a year. It was in my workshop for a year and 4 days before it left. I then sold it to one of my customers, one of my long-term customers. They needed a mill, so I'm like, hey, I've got this mill. It'll take me 3 weeks to retrofit it. If you want it, you can have it. Gave them a good deal on it. They paid 50% up front. I retrofitted it and delivered it to them. Like, there you go. And then that was in December of 2023.
Okay.
And then I realized on the 1st of January, I'm like, I was meant to do a whole lot of work through December, and I just didn't get to a bunch of it. I'm like, I am kneecapped. I need another machine. I need another machine or a faster machine or something.
Right.
And since July in 2023, I'd been looking at the Samurai machines, like look at all my options, all my pretty low cost options. And I was like, okay, Samurai machine will never be an industrial machine. Like it's just, I don't know if you've seen those machines, Samurai 120.
With the double thing? Yeah.
It is effectively a sister Slowio, just more rigid, like by the looks of it. Yeah, same travel, same like size, same everything. So I was like, okay, if I buy that, then I have to build an enclosure. I have to put a controller on it. Not the end of the world, but we're going to be in for like $10,000. Let me see what's on the used market. So then I found a Leadwell drill tap center, like a robo drill copy, down from MechTech, down in Mayerton. They're like a 30-minute drive from me. Went and had a look at the machine. I'm like, okay, it's $20,000, not exactly cheap, but it's okay. Took my indicator, checked for backlash. It was in good condition. Had them power it up, checked the memory. Well, didn't check the memory. Said to them, cool, send me a quote, please. I want to arrange financing. Next morning, I wake up, I'm like, shit, I didn't check memory. Let me go back down, check the memory on the machine. So I drove back down there. I need my quote, please. I want to arrange financing. And I checked the memory on the machine. I'm like, okay, it's a Fanuc. Not great, but I can make it work. That afternoon, get a phone call from them. Yeah, no, sorry, the machine got sold. I'm like, if you had told me you needed a deposit, I would have put a fucking deposit to reserve the machine.
Right.
And then I phoned my mate Dylan down at WD Hearn. I'm like, hey, dude, Machine Tool Africa is like 2 months away. What have you brought in? What do you have on the floor? I need a machine. And he's like, hey, hang on, there's a TC710. So I'm like, I want one of those. Can you find out the details? And he found out the details. In short, it ended up costing me about $40,000. And while I was trying to arrange a machine, my brother-in-law said to me, Brew, if you don't come right to the bank, just come speak to me. We'll make a plan. And that was when the machine was going to cost $20,000. So I phoned my brother-in-law. I'm like, hey, Brew, remember you said you would lend me some money? I need $40,000. He's like, okay, we'll make a plan. So he pulled it out of one of his home loans that was almost paid up because he's got a couple properties. And he's like, he's like, no, we'll make a plan. And then I flew down to Cape Town. I spoke to Dylan on like the Thursday or the Friday. The Tuesday I flew to Cape Town. He picked me up at the airport. We went to the machine, checked the machine out. I sat down with Ray, the old man who owns WD Hearn. And we said, he's like, no, you bought the Alex Tech from us. I'm like, no, like I've been dealing with them now for years. Like they know I'm a known quantity to them.
Right.
And we chat about the she's like, I'm busy VAT registering because I want to claim the VAT back because I can claim back like $5,000 on the purchase. He's like, okay, no worries. We need the space. Put down $5,000. The machine will be on your floor next week. Start running it. When you VAT registered, we'll send you the invoice.
Wow.
I had the machine on my floor and I had made enough money on it to make the first 2 machine payments before I had to pay them.
That's amazing. How cool.
But then, again, there's a topic later on. Someone asked a question, and it's relationships are everything in business. It's all about relationships. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And there it's just known quantity to them. And yeah, they helped me out with the machine. And I saw them at Machine Tool Africa a few months later. And I went up to them, I gave them one of the knives. I'm like, dude, you've literally changed the way I do business. Like stuff that was taking me 3 hours is now a 45-minute job.
Amazing. What's the specs on that thing?
It's 710 by 420 by 350 travel with a 180 nose to table. It's a robo drill. Okay. Does 48 meters a minute rapids, 12K spindle, 16 tool ATC, and a Siemens 828D, which is only 4-axis simultaneous. Can support 8 axes, but only 4-axis simultaneous.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. I've been going down this rabbit hole a little bit lately.
I've heard, yeah. So that's interesting that you found that out.
Yeah, no, I read a lot of stuff and then got my mate Dylan from Danica gets super confused. But I said, I'm chatting to Dylan, and she's like, which Dylan? Is it Crabman from WD Hearn or is it Dylan from Protean? So yeah, I spoke to Dylan. He spoke to Johan, who's the Siemens guy, and yeah, it turns out we can do 4-axis simultaneous. So I then recently needed a 4th axis. So I phoned Dylan. I'm like, hey dude, need a price on a 4th axis. He's like, okay, check out GSA. They're the agents. So I had a look. I'm like, cool, give me prices on these model numbers. And I'm like, do you have any second-hand units? So he looks at it, we got this thing. Let me find out what they want for it. They like make an offer. I'm like, cool, a Coke and a garage part. And he's like, no, make offer. I'm like, Coke and a garage bar. You guys don't know what you want for it. So far, it's free. When I have to pay for it, it's going to be $100.
There you go.
Like
awesome.
$100 for a fourth axis. I had a motor kicking around here that I was going to build a fourth axis with anyway. So then I built a custom controller for that. And now I have a standalone just indexing fourth axis, which is super useful.
Yeah.
Can't go back. Literally cannot go back.
Oh, 100%. It's such a game changer. It really is. Well, I want to go into the anchor point because that is your big product right now. Talk to me about developing a 0 point that is fairly novel. I mean, I think that nobody else is utilizing off-the-shelf parts the way that you're doing it. And I think that that's really, really cool.
Yeah, so I made a pallet. So I've always been a big thing for pallets. Like even where I used to work, I made pallets for some of our common parts because why would I load it one at a time in a vase? I had a pallet there that every time you hit go, you got 2 finished assemblies off. And that's the way it should be. You need to find efficiencies. Then I built a pallet system back when Danica was still working because it was, I went and bought a block of 4-inch by 4-inch by like, I don't know, it must have been about 5 inches long. And I put that on my chop saw and chopped an inch off the top of it. And then used the bottom as a riser and then made pallets for it. And that's how I did a lot of my production. In the beginning was with pallets on that system. That was just a dowel pin on the one end to lock rotation and 2 dowel pins for location and 2 dowel pins for rotation. So it was only contacting the outer edges of the dowel pins because I couldn't make a diamond pin reliably. And that worked forever. And then the LK came along and I had 2 4-inch vases. And I'm like, I want a pallet system. I'm doing stuff in vase drawers that really needs a pallet. So then I went down the route of designing the anchor point. So I designed a the same retention mechanism for my BT30 spindle on the Slowio, because that started out as a TTS spindle and then got converted. I made a new core to make it BT30. So I had the retention knob design. So I was like, let me design a pallet system around this. See how small I can make it, how low I can make it. And then that's where V1 was. I then went to V2 like 4 days later because I discovered that using round pins was a horrible idea. And I bought off-the-shelf pins and that changed. Like that made so much difference. Then I ran V2. V2 is still on my shelf. It ran in my machine for a year. And that didn't even have a ground pad. It was just a turned pad out of 303 stainless. And it ran. I ran production on it. And then I developed the V3, where I fixed a bunch of little things, like just small annoyances that needed to be fixed. And then I made 5 of them. That was just before IMTS that I'd started making them. The parts were on the shelf. But this is now all being funded out of my own pocket. Like, R&D is not a cheap endeavor. So went through to at the time of IMTS, I was like, I don't know if I really want to go to market with this. The shipping is going to be a killer. Because at the time I was having to use DHL. And the DHL shipping on that parcel was, I want to say like $150, $200, something like that. It was brutal. So it wasn't really cost effective. And then had a chat to AJ while I was there. Because I was going to sell it and release the plans. That if you want to make your own, make your own. Like, by all means, there's 2 kinds of people in the world. Those who will make it and those who will buy it. So it's pretty straightforward to make. I haven't released the plans because it's now a full-on product. But I had a chat to AJ there, and then I finished up those samples and sent the samples out. And I sent those, I'm trying to remember now. I sent Kurt his with DHL, and then I think I sent the other ones out with DHL as well. It was brutally expensive. And then I got an Instagram ad for Tunnel, which is a local shipping service specialized in shipping to the US with FedEx. And they are like, it cost me like $80 to send an anchor point anywhere in the world.
Oh, wow.
So
that's so much better.
Cheaper. Well, it was $80 and now there's tariffs.
It should be $80. Yeah. I got
it should be $80. So then that opened that up. So then I pushed through because my diesel customer started stuffing around. So then with the few monies I had, I pushed through for batch 1 of anchor points and put that to market. And then we're busy with batch 2. Batch 2 became expensive because the anodizers ruined it. And I had to remachine all the bodies. I still haven't finished, like there's still 12 bodies half machined. I need to finish machining them and then they can ship out like within a day. So then we developed the V4 And I went straight from V2 to V4 on a riser. And then I made the mooring point, which is 2 anchors. And that's been in my machine for a few months. And now we're putting 2 mooring points in a harbor configuration, which is 4 anchor points that you can literally drop a vise pallet on with two vices on, or a vacuum chuck, or you can use them. I had someone ask me if I'm going to do one similar to the Pearson system where it's longer, but only two locating bits. I'm like, no. You use the smaller units. You can use them individually, or you can use them as a single unit. Like that's the value I see in it.
Right. So at what point in this development process did you think like this is going to be a product? Because it sounds like you just started developing it for yourself.
Yeah, so I started developing it for myself, but with the intention of potentially going to market with it. So from the beginning, it was designed for manufacture. Like,
okay,
I'm lazy and I want to make it as easy as I can. So I designed it with manufacturing in mind and with the machines I have in mind. Like, yeah, I could make some of the parts one piece, but it's then complicated to make. And then I was doing the prototype units that went out, and I just finished machining all the bases, and Justin sends me a message. Oh, can I make his 96mm stud compatible? I'm like, why would you want that? Mm-hmm. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that was one of his questions on the Patreon. Why would you ever want 96mm studs in an anchor point?
So, having now bought some 96mm studs, I understand why. So I made him a custom base plate, and then I very quickly learned that putting the bases, so I had it as the top of the anchor point was its own unit, and then you could put different bases, but you had to indicate them. And there's no proper keying feature. Like, it's keyed, but there's play. So you had to nip the bolts down, but it's now compressing an O-ring, so it's slightly skewed. So you've got to run it. I made a jig to run an indicator, and eventually I was just like, no. That pushed me to V4. And V4 now has got the T-slot or the toe clamp slots on the side and the 96mm stud pattern. And I use the 96mm stud pattern for mounting mine. And yeah, like looking at the price of the studs, that's why the anchor point exists. Mm-hmm. I'm not willing to spend $70 per pallet on pull studs.
Right.
In my mind, that is insane. I'm spending $6 on a BT30 pull stud that you can move between pallets because it's not locating on that. So you could effectively have 10 pallets and 1 pull stud if you really wanted to. And I think that is where the more the product's in the market, the more I realize that's its strong point, is that it is a really long, your cost of ownership is really low in the long term. Because now I've made the Jang plate, which uses 96mm studs. I need to go buy another 3 sets of studs because I want a set on an anchor point, I want a set for an L plate, and I want a set for some other fixturing. So like there, I basically at the cost of an anchor point just in pull studs for 4 pallets.
Totally.
It's kind of silly. But yeah, the whole point of the anchor points is that it's the cost of ownership is low.
And then as far as how it works, is it similar to a spindle where you're using balls to draw the pull stud in with I guess a pneumatic drawbar more or less?
So spindles aren't, well, it depends. It depends. Most spindles aren't using balls anymore. They're using the petals, which is a tool steel that's been coated with, I think it's TIN. It's the gold coating. It's not brass. They are steel. But you can retain. So I'm using 4 balls that slide down. There's a tapered section, and then it's constrained to 19 millimeters. And then the balls effectively pull down. So they get pushed in and then pull down. And that is, the clamping force is driven by the number of springs I can put in, which is driven by the unclamping force. So I did some maths to make a slightly bigger version for 4th axis applications, where we can get about 70 to 80% more clamping force for not too much more piston area, because that is the driving force, is how much air pressure you need to unclamp it. So currently it's like 300 kilos of pull force, which is fine for most applications until you go on a 4th axis. Then you run out of rigidity super quickly if you're holding it sideways. But it's not designed. It was never designed for 4th axis use.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean
a lever arm is gonna. Like, all you have to do is run a 30 taper, and you start knowing how long of a tool holder you can put in there before it starts making bad noises. So yeah,
yes, mine made bad noises all weekend because I was running a like 40 millimeter long 8mm cutter in Tufnell, and it was not having fun.
But yeah,
so that was
material
What's
until you started talking about it?
It's called Richlite, is what it's known as.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think this might have a different resin though, because this stuff stinks. But yeah, some smart dick went and broke his end mill and then filled his machine with tiny dust shavings,
Who would
which
do
was
that?
really annoying to clean out. Yeah, that's the problem with running on a weekend, is if you don't have additional spare tools, you can put yourself in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's actually something I made a note of in the work-life balance thing. We'll chat about that a bit later on.
Awesome.
Like, geez, I'm just burying the leads here today. This is great.
That's good. This is called breadcrumbing. This is good.
It's almost like I do a podcast.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into some questions. You mentioned it. You mentioned some anodizing issues. Tuck's Garage said, how hard was it bringing anodizing into the shop? Would you recommend it for other small shops? And then also, there was another one that I'm missing right now.
Regarding anodizing. Yes.
Yes. ZP machining.
ZP asked me to talk about the anodizer screwing me.
Yes.
Okay, so getting anodized into the workshop's easy. Everything's quite small. You just walk through the door with it. So if you're going to go the anodizing route, don't buy the Caswell kit. Firstly, it's stupid. Buy their dyes. Don't stuff around. Don't go buy printer ink. It works, but don't do it. Buy the Caswell dyes. Buy the Caswell sealer. That is all you need from them. Maybe some lead sheet if you don't want to steal it off your roof. That's all you actually need to buy from Caswell. And maybe titanium wire. The most important thing, and I've got questions about this many times. Oh, my anode won't work. Lead, aluminium, titanium. That's all that can go into your acid tank. Anything else will stuff up your anodize. Because you get guys, oh, it's not anodizing. Yeah, you're using a stainless steel bolt to hold the pot. It's not going to anodize. That is critical. Temperature is critical. Your acid has to be below 20 degrees, which, proper challenge, 20C. You want to be around 15, in my experience, is like a really good number. I've got a water bath that I made and a heat exchanger. So I've got a tank with my acid sitting in a bath of water that I then throw ice into. And then I made a PET and titanium heat exchanger. So a block of PET with channels milled into it. And then I cut a piece of 0.6 titanium, 0.6 millimeter titanium that gets wedged against the O-ring in the front of that. So I can pump water through there and have it just a piece of titanium between the ice cold water and the acid. And that changed my temperature time. It used to take me about 2 hours to start anodizing. I'd throw ice in and I'd wait about 2 hours for the acid to come down. That's now 20 minutes. I'll throw, if like my acid's at 20, 22, 23 degrees, I'll throw 2 bags of ice in, and in 20 minutes, I'm at 15 degrees.
I had no idea it had to be cold. For some reason, I thought the entire process was hot. So that's really interesting to know.
Everything else is hot. It's just the acid. If you go above 20, I've never been above 20 because I heard this. If you go above 20, you start getting a very chalky anodize.
I've seen parts of that, so I know exactly what that looks like.
I picked this up from Grimsmo. He had a video, probably still on his channel, back in the day like that. That's where I learned how to anodize, is from his video. And he was throwing frozen 2-liter Coke bottles into his acid to cool the temperature.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone cools their stuff, and that's why. So my setup is pretty dialed on the cooling side. And then I've got, don't cut corners, buy a benchtop power supply that can do constant current. And then if anyone wants, just hit me up for a DM on Instagram or email me. I'll send you my spreadsheet. You put in the surface area in square millimeters from straight out of Fusion. You just put it into the spreadsheet and it tells you how many amps to run.
Awesome.
So I've got like all my common parts in a list there, and I just drag them in or type the numbers in, and it tells me how many amps to run. I've also got a cheat sheet on my wall for all like the mag bases. What if I want to run 6 of this one? Well, how many amps? And that critical, if you overdo it, you will burn your parts. That took me a while to figure out when I was running at full amperage instead of like 3.5 amps. And I was getting like burns. And I'm like, what are these black marks? And then I checked and I was being an idiot. And then the other biggest trick that I picked up is have an acetone bath and just take your parts, wash them, put them in acetone before you start anodizing. Just soak them in acetone for a few minutes. And then I've got a hot wash, which is about 40 degrees C of simple green, just heated with, I found some old aquarium heaters that are literally just wire wrapped around a ceramic core. And I've got a little temperature controller. So you just buy PID controllers. I bring that up to temperature, then I put bitch mittens on, and I will wash the part quite violently with a scour, like with this dishwashing sponge. Wash everywhere. Then from there, I rinse it off. It goes into a caustic etch, so a caustic soda. Generally, if it's racked properly, when it goes in the caustic soda, the bitch mittens come off, because I've had it where I've had a hole in the glove, and then the caustic soda gets in and you make finger soap. Less than ideal. So once it's racked, you only need gloves to not touch the parts. Once it's racked, you touching the rack, it doesn't matter. It then goes in the caustic soda for 3 minutes. I run 1 minute, agitate, 1 minute, agitate, 1 minute, agitate. Then it gets rinsed back into the hot simple green for another minute. Then it gets rinsed again, then put into my rinse tank, and it sits there to cool down. Because obviously you don't want to go from 40 degrees into your 20-degree acid. You're going to raise your acid temperature. So I put it in my water, let it just sit there for a minute or two, and then it goes into my acid tank. And the biggest thing, like titanium bar across the top, greatest thing ever. Because now you just drop the part on, it connects, and you're done. There's no twisting wires, stuff like that. Then it goes in there. I've pushed my time up. So I was running 45 minutes in the acid, which was okay. But my blacks were grey. So I did a bit of Googling, and you run it a bit longer, and the pores open bigger, and you get a darker black. So I now run it for an hour. You should run it for 2 hours, allegedly. But who's got time for that? Then I can do like 5 ano runs a day. Screw that. I want to do 10.
Right.
And most of my anodizer is cosmetic. Like all my anodizer is cosmetic. So it goes in there for an hour. When it comes out of there, it gets rinsed off, and then goes into the rinse tank again for a minute, like with a timer. And then it goes into my dyes. And my dyes are at about 60 degrees C. And for that, I bought what's known as a meat tray. It's like a plastic tub. And I put water heater elements in it with a built-in thermostat. And I set that to like 60 degrees. So I turn that on. It warms the bath. And then I've got, I think they are 1 gallon buckets that have my dyes in, that sit in that water bath to heat up. That way I can have multiple colors warm. And then, part goes in different time for different colors. And from there, it goes into the sealing tank, which is the Caswell sealer with distilled water or RO water. And it is now in a crock pot, because a crock pot's a hell of a lot more insulated than a deep fryer.
Smart.
And that runs, PID controller and 2 degrees below boiling.
Okay.
Otherwise, it boils over and you run out of stuff. I learned this the hard way. I figured out exactly where the boiling point was according to my PID setup. It's 86 degrees, and it will go to 86 and will sit there perfectly all day. And you get a lot less boil off if it's not boiling. But then you drop it in there for 10 to 15 minutes, up to like an hour, depends on what you're doing. And then I take it out of there, I wash it, and then I hit it with WD-40 just to see, otherwise it leaves it like a dry surface. It seals the surface nicely.
Awesome.
But
That's super cool.
that is my ano setup. The other big thing is buy a little pump and put it into a bucket of water and have water for days. Like when you want to rinse something, you don't want to be spritzing or pumping a pump bottle. Just have a pump that does water. And that eliminated runs entirely on the mag bases. You just spray into bolt holes, because that's the thing. You send your parts out, it's got a threaded hole. The acid gets stuck in the hole because they don't rinse properly, and then when they're dying, you get these streaks.
Yep.
So you've got to care about what you're doing with anodizing and actually wash your parts properly.
Makes sense. Yeah. So tell us a story of what happened that you brought anodize back in house.
Anodize never left in house. It was just a bit of a schlep to do the anchor point bodies. So they require 8.5 amps. I have a 5 amp power supply. Turns out you can anodize it with 5 amps, because I do. But I wanted to send it out. It's a process I didn't want to have to deal with. So I sent samples to the anodizers. They anodized them. There were some racking issues. I spoke to them about this. We resolved that. And then I sent batch 1. And it came back and it was perfect. Like, literally perfect. Can't measure any deviation on the size of holes, because they etching off 20 microns, adding 20 microns back. Sent the second batch. They're like, no, it should be in like 2 or 3 days. It'll be done. Didn't hear back. A week later, hear back from the quality guy. He's like, can you come through? We just want to check. There's a few ones with marks on them. We just want to check. So I'm like, no worries. I'm still establishing my QA process with them. It's fine. I'll go through. I go through and I look at the racking, because I'm supplying brand new racking pins, aluminium racking pins with every batch. And I look at the racking pins and those have been stripped. But okay, is what it is. Look at the parts. Go through with them, okay, this is entirely B-side. If there's a mark there, I literally don't give a shit. Only these, like, explain to them where it matters. I think I left 4 parts. I'm like, please, can you strip these 4 parts and re-anodize them? I want to see how the tolerances shift. Like, they were spare bodies. It is what it is. I'll write them off if it's a cocker. And I go back home, open the box up, like, hey, they look really good. Let me see if the pins fit. And I go to put the pin in and it just drops in. I'm like, wait. Did I have a seizure when I was machining these? I'm pretty sure I didn't. So grab my ball mark, measure it, 0.15 over of a millimeter. I'm like, that's way over. Maybe I fucked up. Turn them over, measure the back bores for the locating studs, 0.15 over. Like, okay, no, something fishy. And then I realized they stripped these parts and re-anodized them. So I asked the guys, hey, what the fuck happened? My parts are 0.15 over. The guys are like, no, I'll check the cameras. They ran them once. I'm like, you clearly fucking didn't.
Right.
You clearly stripped these things and re-anodized. They won't admit it. I'm like, fuck, it is what it is. I'm sending them work next week, but it's stuff that's non-critical because I don't want to anodize like 100 parts. But yeah, frustrating as hell.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just took those anchor points, wrapped them in paper, put them in boxes, and they're in my office. Like, I might it's not even worth making the pins for them because now it's a non-standard item.
Right.
It's a turn pin that I've had to make. I've got to make the pin, have it heat treated, and then hard turn it. It's not worth the effort to salvage the bodies. I scrapped them. I bought more material, and then I bought a hydraulic holder so that I could machine them better. And now I anodize in-house. And the anodizing in-house lets me do fancy stuff, so it's fine.
Right. Your French flag that got stolen or whatever.
Yes, got lost by FedEx, which is really, really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually waiting for that to be resolved still. I was chatting to EJ because the thing is, it's not just the anchor point that was in the box. It's for EJ. We chat every Friday. I threw a bunch of other stuff in. The anchor point's insured, not the rest of the stuff. So I've got to. Luckily, I have the rest of the stuff that I can send him. But I'd sent him a manifold block for his 2 anchor points and some extra slide valves and extra fittings and stuff. But yeah, anyway, that'll get resolved. I'll send it off this week. I think I'll run. I need to make the new racking. So I bought titanium, 6mm titanium. I need to thread it, and then I'll have titanium racking for the anchor points because that can be reused.
Right.
Whereas aluminium, you have to strip it to reuse it, which is a schlep.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And not worth it.
All right.
That's fancy. I like that. That you're color coding as we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's something I run into every week. I'm like, okay, have we covered this topic or not? I like that.
Yeah. Justin's other question from the Patreon: what's your personal favorite t-shirt design? So your wife makes fantastic shirts. This warranty isn't going to void itself. Love it.
Yeah, I only got this is the first time I'm wearing the shirt. She made it for me 2 days ago. I've been harassing her because she
Justin has
sends
one
the designs
too, right?
to Printful.
Of that same one? Yeah.
Yeah, so this shirt, speaking of the shirts, this shirt will be available for the week after the podcast is released. It will be put back on the store because they're on there for 3 months and they come off the store. So Danica will re-enable the shirt with for this podcast for a week. But yeah, warranty ain't going to void itself. That is like the most true statement because I don't give a shit about warranties.
Yeah.
I'll fix it myself if it breaks.
That's great. His last question: do you ever find that you wish the LK had a roof on the enclosure? Plastic drapery works just fine.
Yeah, I've got coroplast that I put on top because I was getting splash over with face mills. And then, I had to make a bar for my winch for the 4th axis because there's no roof. So I had to make a cross member with a winch on the back so that I could lift my 4th axis when I run Tufnell. But it is what it is. It's a lot darker when you put a roof on it, but I've got an extra 60 watts worth of LEDs in it, so it's okay.
Right.
Like I don't stuff around with the lights in your machine. You don't need to work like you're in the 90s.
Our first brother, the TC, was the same way, where it came to us without a roof at all. And so one of our close friends locally has a water jet. And so we designed something up and then brought him a big old sheet of 16th or something stainless. Just something so that it wasn't splashing everywhere. Like I didn't care about, it didn't need to be thick. It just needed to protect it.
Just needed to stop water. No, so mine, allegedly it's an option to have a roof, and the guy who bought the machine initially didn't option it because I bought the second hand. It's a new machine. It's 2019. It's not like it's an old machine, but he bought the machine And then apparently he got cancer or something and sold off all his machines.
Oh,
and
that's terrible.
his biggest regret was selling this machine. But yeah, they were selling off and moving somewhere else, so he sold it back to WD Hearn, and then I picked it up from them for a bit of a steal because the LKs priced themselves out the local markets.
Really?
Yeah, I think I got a price on a new one. Hang on, Imperializer. This exchange rate's a little off, but it's close enough. $67,000.
That's expensive for a Chinese machine.
So that's for the 500. That's Taiwanese, not Chinese.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit less shit. That's with the Siemens controller, servo, tool changer. I can't remember if I spec'd it with through spindle. But yeah, that was like a good spec'd machine.
I guess that makes sense, though. That's like SILE pricing, right?
Yeah, a bit more than SILE. About double an X5 locally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the X5 is tiny. I would buy another LK before I would buy a SILE.
You seem like you had great success.
So one of the things I spent INTS doing was shoving my head in the back of every single machine tool and looking at the castings and the kinematics and all the interesting shit to me, looking at how it's wired. And something I noticed on the LK is the linear guide spacing is huge compared to the Brothers, compared to the Robo-Drills, compared to the freaking horses. The spacing, if you're standing in the machine, your y-axis spacing of the x-axis guides and the width of the y-axis is freaking huge.
Oh,
like
really?
a VF2 is like half of the width of the guides spacing. So this thing is rigid as hell for a 30 taper machine. Like because obviously the further apart your guides are, the larger your bending moment has to be. So yeah, I like the kinematics on this. I think it's a very well engineered machine, just looking at the size of casting and thing. So like that, I would look at buying another one, mostly because I like the Siemens controller.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm a bit of a Siemens fanboy.
They seem very, very powerful. From everything you've said on your podcast, it sounds like you can do some really cool stuff with it, which I like.
Yeah, no, like the tool library thing, just like that. Yeah, I had a customer. Yeah, he's got a Herco, and he's like, "What would it take to do what you've done?" I've got the 16 tools in the machine, and then the 37 next to the machine that are all in the controller and pretty much set up. If the tag is upright, it's touched off. All I have to do is put it in the carousel and load it into the tool table. Mm-hmm. It's done. Like that. That's how it should be. Oh, I need to load in 6 different thread mills. I just grab them and load them. There's no, must I touch it off? Mustn't I touch it off? Touch it off on the top of the job bullshit. It's like, yeah, tool setter and have everything set. So, but yeah, that's again, working by yourself. You need to find these optimizations.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, every minute counts apparently.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Spike said he saw your stuff with Sarl, which I assume is South Africa Robot League.
South African Robot League, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Rugby League or Radio League. But yeah, we bought the URL, so it's Robot League.
Yeah, well, I mean, I figured I was talking to you, so I knew my audience. But he says he's starting a first robotics team this year. Any recommendations for a rookie robotics team?
We don't get first robotics here, unfortunately. Or actually, no, sorry, I lie. We do, but it's only at the really fancy schools. Yeah, so the small size combat robots is a really good way to get kids involved because it's not super expensive. I mean, we developed a kit for the local market, which is still too expensive. That's like $70 for a robot, and you're fighting in the non-destructive. Yeah, that's it. Running custom controller I built because the PlayStation 3 controllers had some connectivity issues. It's a basic robot, but last year one of those came third in the overall tournament in the year.
No way.
Yeah, the driver's my neighbor's kid. He's really good. I actually need to harass him because we've got a tournament on Saturday and he needs to rebuild his robot. We do tournaments every like 6 weeks here, but if you're doing non-destructive, it gets the kids to the point that they can learn to build a robot and compete. The kits we did, like if you want some, please reach out, Spark, and I will send you all the files. Like you can have the CAD files. The guys can build the pepper juice. The parts are readily available. And you can build a little arena and you can compete again and again and again. That's the point of the spot. The battery life on a new battery is like 6 hours or something stupid. The battery is so oversized that if you're a kid, you can just play with it as a toy. My neighbor's kids wore out each of them wore out a set of gearboxes in a month because the gearboxes are spec, like the guys who are competing, you're expected, if your gearbox lasts an hour, you've done 20 matches with that gearbox.
Wow.
Like it's a 3-minute match. Like they're not meant, a robot doesn't run 20 matches without replacing parts.
If it's not destructive, how do they score it? How are those matches?
So what we do for non-destructive is there's control and aggression are your 2 judging categories, and there's a pit of doom. And if you throw the other guy in the pit, you win the match. So even in our destructive, there's a pit of doom, which is my arch enemy, because I have chaotic machines and they will just get vibrating and dancing and fall in the pit. Yeah, so like what we've now done in our league is any of the qualifying fights. So Danica will make a bracket. Everyone gets 1 or 2 or 3 qualifying fights. If it goes to a draw, you each get 1 point. We don't judge it. It's a draw. In the bracket, then there's judging. If I'm in control and I throw you in the pit and I stay in the box, it's a 2-point victory. If I'm in control and I drive you into the pit and I go with you, it's a 1-point victory. Which doesn't sound like much, but when those points get tallied up to put you in the bracket, that 1 point can make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I see Groper isn't on its shelf. So some of my robots are back there. I had Groper last year that I won the tournament with. That's what the big trophy's for. I was being mean at one point where I was letting people push me around until the pits opened. Once the pits opened, you had 20 seconds and the match was over. I'd pin you in a corner, grab you, lift you, drive to the pits and throw you in. But that came with a lot of driving practice, because we did a couple of expos last year where I took time off work to go and stand at conventions, comic book conventions and stuff with the arena, and every hour was a destructive demo. So we would throw like a monster cannon with a destructive robot or some old prints or something, and then we had it, people could pay, I think it was like $3 to have a match with our rental bots, and then the winner could challenge me. So then I was having a fight every time. So I just was clocking driving time. So come end of the year, my driving skill was off the chart compared to everyone else who's only really driven in tournaments. Right. Whereas I've got like days of driving practice on my bots. So yeah, it's lots of fun. Like the robot stuff is a hell of a lot of fun. I've got to fix motors this week for the whole league because I bought motors and they didn't put flats on the shafts.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How many people?
So my motor failed every fight last tournament. Yeah,
right. I remember you saying that. Yeah. How many people are you guys up to in your league?
It's still small. I think so far we've got 3 robots for non-destructive this weekend. One of the guys who normally brings 2 bots, him and his son, he's not coming this weekend. And then I think there'll be 5 or 6 for the non-destructive.
That's awesome.
We stopped trying to grow it. Like we were pushing hard to grow it. And this year I said to Danica, that's it. It will be a backyard league. I'm not putting any more money into it. We spent 4 days at Rage, which is like our Comic-Con. Well, there's also Comic-Con. But Rage is like the gaming expo. We spent 4 days there, built a stand, spent 4 days buying lunch, lost revenue from not working. We also did Icon, which was 4 days. That was driving an hour every morning to the place, setting up, driving an hour back every evening. It's like we've pumped way too much money into it. It will become a backyard league until it grows now. Yeah. Like this tournament is up the road. I could throw a rock and hit the restaurant. We're just going to have it there this weekend because it's not in our house. There's bathrooms, there's food. The guys can come through. Normally wherever we have it, the guys will order lunch and whatnot. So we do it here and then we do it at Nexus in the north, which is about an hour's drive. But I try to do north, south of Joburg, alternating, just to make it easier for the guys.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
I look at the Australians. They have more disposable income than the South Africans generally, and their league is only now kicking off after like 8 years of being a garage tournament. So I'm not going to push. I don't have the capacity to push it. Like when I started the league, we were kind of in a bit of a rut, quiet, had production work, bills were paid, it was fine. And now we are hustling a bit more and I don't have time to pump into the robot league. Like I'll probably only work on robots on Thursday afternoon for the tournament on Saturday. Like the Thwanker, my current robot. I machined that on the Saturday morning of the tournament. We competed at 12. I designed it on Friday afternoon. I machined it on Saturday morning, assembled it and competed. and came third.
I love it.
So yeah, it is a lot of fun, but yeah, it's a good way to get kids into robotics. Like that's the gist of that, the answer to that question.
That's awesome. All right, his next one, they started a student-run enterprise in their career and technical education department to give students an opportunity to hone their skills, build relationships with industry, and help provide supplemental funding to be able to teach their courses. Are there any cool products or projects that students in your area make for your community?
Not in my area that I know of. I also like living in my little cave. Yeah, student-wise, I don't know. I think there's a Technicon down Vol Triangle somewhere, like 30-minute drive. I've never actually been there. I wanted to actually go visit my old high school because my mother now lives 1 block from it. So I actually wanted to go in there because when I left, they were getting in CNC machines. So I want to see how well they've crashed those. But yeah, no, there's nothing that comes to mind. But like trinkety things would be the ticket there, like a fundraiser bottle opener kind of things, like where you can convince the parents to give you more money than they should because it's a fundraiser. Like,
right,
you could tell $10 for a bottle opener because it's a fundraiser, and at least they get something for their money, and it lets the kids practice making something.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Gains of bottle openers would probably be a good way, and then sell it as a fundraiser that you can justify asking more than you should for it.
Yeah,
like that would be the best bet there.
I mean, realistically too, if they've got other industry local to Spike, you could reach out and just see if, if there's shops in your community that need like op zeros done, like dovetail ops and stuff like that. Like I would love to support a college that way. Like, oh yeah, I'll pay you a little bit to prep all this stock for me.
Yeah, that you don't have to. That was actually something very interesting from the Chips and Tips podcast with Michael from Gimbal Automation. He was saying op zero, like his system's perfect for that. Yeah. Because that's the annoying thing. Oh, I've got to op zero stuff. I've got to op zero some copper this week. It's like, shit, now I've got to stand there and put a dovetail on some copper. Like, it would be great to just have the robot do that for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that's good call there for like stuff that's not critical. That if the dovetail's a little bit out, you've got a self-centering vase. It doesn't really matter.
Right. Exactly. And then his last question was, what does high school tech ed look like in South Africa? So you went to it. What does it look like now?
That was, I don't want to say how long ago because it makes me feel old. It was nearly an adult ago. Back then they were very far and few between. One of the things that came through with the new education system that I went through is woodworking went away. So my first high school I was at, they had woodworking up until the year before me. And then that shop just got closed. I think it's making a bit of a comeback now. That they're trying to get back into it because they realized they'd gone fucked up. There's a lot of that. Like I was discussing with someone. I was saying, yeah, everyone's got a degree. No one can get a job. My wife, Danica, wrote an article on LinkedIn. If you don't mind, we'll put a link to that. About people literally having a bachelor's degree and not even getting offered jobs at minimum wage. And you must just be happy that you have a job because I think they've oversold everyone needs a degree.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, we've been doing that for a decade now, at least.
Yeah. I've got the drafting thing. I studied tertiary. My brother didn't. My brother has earned more money than me for the longest time. He's in sales. He does development and sales of fishing rods. He's in Namibia next week, going to visit all his customers there. He does the development on fishing rods for the company he works at, and they literally can't afford to be without him. He wanted to move down to Plettenberg Bay, when his girlfriend finished her ComServe, and he said to his boss, listen, I want to move to Plet. I want to work remotely. His boss is like, the conversation started, oh yeah, maybe take a bit of a pay cut, work remotely, to please don't leave us, full salary, go work there and service all the Cape. Like, can't afford, because his boss goes to Mexico for 3 months of the year to go fishing and just spends 3 months in Mexico fishing. So
you mean
and then
product research, right?
Yeah, exactly. Product research and development. I mean, they go to China, go visit all the factories that make their rods. I built them a rod tester so they get blanks sent over. Then they'll load the rods up, see where the rod's bending, take a picture, make notes. Okay, adjust the thickness of the rod just so it bends like this. Like, he's passionate about it, so he enjoys doing it. That's cool. He never studied tertiary. He started off fixing fishing reels in the fishing shop, and then when he wasn't doing that, he was selling stuff. Then he was running the warehouse at the fishing shop and outselling everybody in the sales department. And then he left there to go work for their sister company who does the wholesale stuff. and has been there since. Like, you don't need a tertiary education. You just need some drive and you'll be fine.
Right.
That's the big thing. I think it's, the whole degree thing is oversold and has been for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that, like, I really appreciate technical education in the US where they schedule the classes so that you can work. Like, I was very lucky in that when I was going to school at the community college here, I could kind of schedule my classes so they were bookending the day. So it was either like a morning class and I could go in late to work and my boss is okay because I was learning what I was doing, or it was after work hours and like they had a bunch of night classes. Because it's so frustrating for all these people to come out of college and it's like, yep, so now I'm in debt and I can't get a job and I guess I got to go make the fries, like that kind of stuff.
No, that's the thing. I had Carl, my cousin's boyfriend. He's been running the Slow-Yo, doing the Titan course, just so he can get up to speed on milling in the future, because they're running an old machine that I think they're programming with Mastercam 5 or something, like a cracked version that they have on this old ass machine. And it's just like, I'm like, come learn on the Slow-Yo, get up to speed with Fusion, that if you want to go do that, you can go do that. And he was doing that after hours. So he would finish work, come here, do that. I now put him in contact with some of my customers and he's doing turning work for them. But he's doing turning work on calling that machine a wet noodle is a compliment. It's an older Kuma that is so clapped out, you can grab the turret and do this with the turret.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but that is all he has access to at the moment. So he still does pretty good work on it. But holding tight tolerances is a bit of a challenge for him.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So, but that's, the education things.
That's rough. Yeah.
All right. That is rough. What's up next?
Julian asked, what's a hidden detail or feature that you designed into the anchor point that you think most people miss?
The butthole. So on the bottom of the anchor point, there is a grub screw and a hole. And that is there for a very specific purpose. It's so that you can internally port them with air. So like on the mooring point, I was actually making the bridges yesterday. It's probably still on my Instagram stories. Well, it won't be anymore. But the first one, you put air in the front. It then fills the cylinder and goes out the bottom through a bridge under the mooring point and then up into the back one, so that you have no fittings on the back one. Also, my fourth axis, I've got I wouldn't call it a rotary union. I would call it a 3D print with a pneumatic fitting on it that feeds through into the back of the unit, so you don't have to have air fitting sticking out the side. So that was built in right at the end. I added that. Super useful feature. Even for just when I assemble, for putting it on the fixtures and stuff, it makes life super easy. And there's also a QR code on the bottom. So when you pick it up and you turn it over, there's a quick start guide QR code.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Yeah. I was going to put secret messages inside, but then I got over that idea. It's just too much effort.
What are you using to disconnect them right now, or like to open them? Is it just the normal quick disconnect for airlines?
So I've got slide valves on them, which very hard to find the name of, but I found them locally, and then I found them in China, because locally they were stupid expensive compared to what I can get them from China. You basically put air, when you slide it forward, it lets air into the anchor point and unclamps. When you slide it back, it vents the anchor point and seals off the airline.
Okay, so are you just running like 6mm hose to those then?
Yes, 6mm hose. So I run I run a 6mm hose to an elbow into the slide valve, and then that just screws straight into the anchor point. It's got a 1/8 threaded hole.
Awesome.
1/8 PSP. So you just put air in there and that's it. It unclamps. And it unclamps with air and clamps with the springs. So in an air failure situation, you still clamped.
Awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah. But those slide valves are really cool. I considered making them for a hot second, and then I discovered I could get them from China for cheaper. I have like 50 of them that I can't send out because they have Chinese writing on them. And I'm like, no. Just not sending those out. They'll get used internally.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Aussie Machinist asks, what advice would you give to somebody wanting to start their own shop? What is the biggest challenge that you've faced running your own shop?
So I had dinner with the Aussie Machinist when at INTS. Really I had a lot of fun chatting to him. We were chatting this week. Yeah, starting your own business, it's a grind. Like everyone else has a 9 to 5 and a weekend, you don't. We'll touch on that later. There's some things I added there. But you also get the freedom, which is great. But relationships are everything. Like that can't be understated. Like it all comes down to relationships with your customers and connections in the industry, because if you don't have those, you're going to have a really hard time getting started, because you're going to have to go cold calling, and cold calling sucks. So it's all about relationships, and equipment is easy. Like you just buy a machine. But relationships are hard to buy.
I completely
good
agree.
Relationships are hard to buy.
Yeah. Ian Porter says, not attempting to throw any shade, but how do you concentrate with the chaos of such a small shop? Because you are quite packed in there.
Yeah. That picture you put on your Patreons from the video that I was giving Harrison shit about. It is a little bit hard to focus some days. I have now taken to writing to-do lists, because if I don't, I will literally just float around and do nothing all day if I don't have a set thing I'm trying to achieve. Deadlines help. Like if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done. And that's the case this week. I've got a customer, he needs a bunch of stuff by the end of the week, so now his stuff's right at the front of the queue, and I know what I have to go in, and I need to go buy bolts this morning and go pick up laser cutting, but when I get back, I know what I have to do. Otherwise I get distracted. I'm in the process of trying to organize my life. The workbench next to the LK is getting yeeted, and I'm going to put shelves on that wall, but finding time between machining and finding time to do that has proven a little challenging, but that I'm going to try to get to this weekend. I want to pull the rack off the wall, take the workbench out, paint the walls, put up shelving, and then there'll still be a workbench, but I'll also have shelving, because material comes in, I like to stack it there, but then I can't use the workbench. So small things, like small improvements. Like everyone thinks lean happens overnight. It doesn't. It's a constant struggle. I was cleaning the lathe bench because the workbench opposite Bertha just gets everything put on it. Like if I'm working on the lathe, I'll make a part, it's out of spec, I'll put it on the table so I can make the next part, and then I'll measure that. Okay, it's good, throw it in the bin. Now that one stays on the table. I saw Chris Bowden or Physics Duck on YouTube. He had a thing a while ago. His channel's great. Like it's amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's like he said, don't put it down, put it away.
Mm-hmm.
And those words ring true, because I'm the worst. I will go and take my 5mm Allen key from the mill, go use it on the lathe, and then leave it at the lathe. And then I'm at the mill with, where's my Allen key? Don't know where it is. And then spend half an hour looking for it. And have tools at every machine helps a lot. Like dedicated tools for every machine. Like helps a huge amount. But I like chaos. I'm happy in chaos. It's a problem. Now my house up here looks like Etsy took a shit, because my wife does arts and crafts. And I literally told, it was in our hallway, I'm like, upstairs. We don't use upstairs, put it upstairs. It used to be the lounge, it's too hot up here. Her vinyl cutting and crap is all up here now. All over the floor.
I can see the cricket over your shoulder.
Yeah, we got 2 of those things. And there's vinyl on the wall, but upstairs is chaos. Like, that's fine. It can be a chaos room. Both of us are fine with chaos.
Okay.
Yeah. Tables are the devil. Don't have tables.
I completely agree. All horizontal spaces will be filled.
Well, I couldn't find my keys. I had a customer come past yesterday. I'm like, where the fuck did I put my keys? I put them in the mill because all my tables are full and the mill wasn't running. So I put them on a piece of material in the mill. And I'm running around the shop trying to find my keys. Yeah. I've never put them in the mill before, but that was just the easiest place to put them. Yeah. So chaos is a problem.
Indeed. NYDLS30 asked, are you coming to IMTS again next year?
We are planning to. I'm hoping the world becomes a better place before then. But my wife is already planning the trip. She's super keen. We're going to come through, and then I think her mom wants to come with as well. Her mom's going to fly out towards the end of IMTS, and they're going to go to Disneyland, and I'm going to fly home.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Because they want to go travel the US a little bit. I'm like, whatever, you're there. I'll come home and carry on making a living in things. But I'm thinking of planning it for a 2-week trip. So come in either a week early and do a bunch of shop tours as I make my way to Chicago, or the other way around, do IMTS and then make my way out through a bunch of people's workshops, because that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Which way do you usually fly in? Is it into California and across the states, or is it New York?
Last time we flew into Atlanta, because Delta flies from here.
So
we flew into Atlanta, and then we flew straight to Chicago. So I want to see New York. I don't know why. It's on the list of things I want to see. I'll compare it to Joburg downtown. It'll probably be a little bit better. Joburg downtown, something else. But I want to spend a bit more time in the US if all things line up. that's one of the points of the Patreon on the Lone Machinist, is to not make us stay in South Chicago, because apparently South Chicago is not such a nice area. I mean, I didn't feel unsafe. Danik and I were literally walking down the street one morning to IMTS. Someone stepped to the street, took one look at us, and stepped off of the street again. They thought I was going to mug them. Because in South Africa, you walk down the street, someone steps in front of you, you give them the mugger's look, and then they understand that if they mug you, they're going to die. So yeah, I gave someone the mugger's look, and they literally stepped out of the road. It was great.
That's amazing.
I didn't feel unsafe at all in Chicago. Like, we were in the South. Apparently the West is really like not nice, but the South was fine. We were in Stony Shore. But yeah, we want to stay a little bit north next time. Like, Danik is already looking for Airbnbs.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we are definitely planning. I'm planning on kidnapping Kurt and then coming down.
Good. Yes, you both need to be there. I completely agree.
Yeah, hopefully the whole world situation will sort its shit out by then.
Yeah. I mean, so far it seems like people coming here is not, terrible, at least for visiting. So hopefully it'll maintain that way and you guys will make your way out.
Yeah, hopefully. Because IMTS was a proper jaw last time. Like, I had so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm going there. I'm not going to buy a machine. Let's be realistic. I'm not buying a machine from a US dealer, but it is nice to see everything that's out there.
Oh,
because
totally.
Machine Tool Africa was hilarious compared to IMTS. Like, you could fit the whole of Machine Tool Africa into the Machine Tool Hall like 10 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was tiny. And this coming Machine Tool Africa, Mazak are not going to be there. I was at the Shunk demo day there. They're like, no, they're just doing, it wasn't worth it for them to be there.
Yeah.
So they're going to just do something at their premises in Joburg. I was like, okay, cool, I'll be there for that too. Because I went to their Shunk demo day and was shocked at the price of Shunk. It's not as bad as I thought. And it has in my mind, it has a bad feel just because of who promotes it on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. No, their vices are gorgeous. Like, if they had a stamping system like Lang did, I would probably have gone Shunk over Lang.
So their self-centering is also, the screws aren't exposed.
Yeah, exactly.
Your clamping screws, it's really clever. Yeah. I was having a look at their 0-point system, their 96mm compatible one. One of their big things is the pull studs are the same diameter all the way down, so that when you press on it, it doesn't deform out the way, it touches a wall.
Oh, cool.
Whereas the Lang and the fifth axis, their diameter is smaller on the bottom of the pull stud.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's interesting, because we went there, they had a demo day promo thing for all the Shunk work holding stuff and tool holding. They had a killer deal on Tribos tool extensions, but I was too poor to buy them. Like 5 of the extensions and their little unit for clamping and unclamping them was like was $1,000.
Whoa, that's a steal. Wow.
But unfortunately, wasn't in a position. I'll buy it at full price when I need it. Like,
right.
But really nice stuff. But
awesome. Well, last up, Kyle asked, what is your best, if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid story?
My favorite one on those is the bar feeders on my lathes. The number of questions I've got about how that works is insane. It's literally a piece of PVC pipe that I 3D printed an end for, put a bearing in, and put a pneumatic fitting through the bearing. Like, that's it. And it's effectively a pneumatic cylinder that goes down the bore of my lathes. And those have fed countless thousands of parts. Like the one I've got is made out of 25mm PVC pipe for Bertha. It fed 1,000 parts last month. It'll feed 1,000 parts this month. Like, it also fed a bar out and spun around, but we don't talk about that. It works shockingly reliably. Like, it's literally just a PVC pipe. I made a piston out of a piece of PTFE with an O-ring, and then just before the end, you cross drill some holes so that it vents, so that piece doesn't come out the end. And that goes into the spindle bore, so it's all contained in your spindle's bore. And at the end where you put the cap on, I've just got a bearing, and I made a little aluminium plug that goes in it, and I screw a pneumatic fitting into it. And that's it. It spins. And it leaks like a sieve, because it's just a normal ball bearing, but it leaks. It doesn't leak enough air to stop it from feeding forward with the bar. And it works.
That's so crazy. I like that. Yeah. So the bearing is basically you're making
a
rotary union, sort of?
Yes. And it will happily feed air through at 2,000 RPM.
That's super cool. And then I assume you're putting your turret or whatever in front of it and just feeding into it to get the dead length.
Yeah.
I've
got a spinning. Yeah, I've got a spinning stop on Bertha. Yeah, when it works. On Bertha, I've got a spinning stop because the machine takes about 30 seconds to stop and start up again on the spindle because I did it on a budget and the motor for the spindle is a little bit undersized. Also, the spindle weighs a few 100 kilograms. It's not a small spindle. So I spin up to 2000 RPM and then I will run off 36 parts and then I'll turn the spindle off. And then on the MCO, it's got a little 1 kilowatt servo on the spindle and it stops in like 2 seconds. So by the time I do the tool change to the stopper, it's stopped, position, unclamp, feed forward, keep the feeder on, clamp, and then turn the feeder off. Otherwise, that makes it more consistent because it's a 5C, it's a pullback collet.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that is more consistent than the other way around. And one of my spots on the turret is dedicated to a stop.
Awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
But yeah, that like, it's stupid, but it works, and you can't argue with it. Like it does the thing, it's all in the spindle. Like that's the big thing. It's not going to shit whip itself.
It's cheap, and I love it. Yeah. That's ingenuity right there. All right, shop news and new things. Give me the lowdown. Yes. What's going on in your world?
So I'm looking to replace Bertha. So I was looking at the smart lathe SL42 with a servo turret and a additional 3-jaw chuck. So it comes with a collet chuck, pullback collet chuck, and I asked for additional $13,000, excluding freight. Yeah. I reckon we can probably have it installed here for $20,000.
That's crazy.
Like super cheap. Chinese machine. As we said on the Lone Machinist, I'm not scared of a machine. If it comes in and it's a dud, I'll just undud it. Like it's really not a concern.
Yeah, you're about the perfect customer for anybody. It's just like, he'll fix it. Like, whatever.
Well, I accidentally e-stopped the LK during a tool change. That was less than ideal. It then got drunk. So it's got a sensor. It's not a Geneva mechanism. It's similar to Geneva. So it's got a motor that spins. It indexes one spot. But every time the motor turns, it triggers a proxy. And it won't turn unless that proxy is triggered. So I phoned my mates. I had to go to site. So I phoned him like, hey, dude, I've errored out the tool changer. I need help, but I've got to go to site. So I phoned him while I was on the way, had a chat to him. He's like, no, there's probably a proxy. So I pulled the cover. Oh, there's a proxy. Shoved a shim into it, told it to tool change. It did a tool change, but now it doesn't know where it is. Because the only way, there is a homing sequence. I just don't know how to run it. Because there's a homing sensor. But it uses the counts on that sensor to know where it is.
Right.
So I found out, like, I need this homing, I need the sequence, but now I've got a job that needs to go out the door. So eventually I'm like, Danica, come give me a hand. Loosened the big nuts on the middle, pulled the carousel off, turned it, put it back on where it needed to be, tightened it, fixed. There you go, problem solved. And my mate phones me back later. I'm like, oh no, it's fixed. Like, he's like, okay, no, you're the right kind of customer. Like, got a problem, I'll just unbreak it because it just needed to move over 4 positions. And I'm sure there's a homing sequence. I just don't know how to run it. So I just manually fixed it.
Yeah,
as one does.
What controller is on that smart lathe? Is it
it's their own? It's their own. It's their smart lathe controller. It's like an LNC or a GSK, same kind of thing. Chinese CNC controller. So I mean, it's a lathe. It's up, down, left, right. It's not complicated.
Right.
It's not. So I got a price on a 4th axis version of that as well, but not 4th axis, C axis. But I don't need that, so I'm not going to bother with that at the moment. It would be cool, but I don't actually need it, so let me not spend money I don't need to spend.
Right. So would that be a replacement for one of your lathes or an addition?
Replace Bertha.
Okay.
I've got a buyer lined up for Bertha.
Oh, awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I had it lined up for like a year. He's like, when you sell it, just phone me. I gave him a price. He's like, cool. I mean, there's a quarter of the price is just the collets that go with it.
Right.
Like, the collets are not exactly cheap items. Yeah, then I've been chatting to Silver CNC about their 4th axes.
Okay. For the
shockingly cheaper,
LK?
Almost cheaper. Yeah, for the LK. Almost cheaper to buy 4th axis with a servo and drive from them than to just buy the servo and drive locally.
Really?
Yeah. Locally, the price I got for the servo and drive was like, maths is hard, was about $3,000. And buying the unit from the rotary with the drive and the motor was $4,000 something delivered with
That's
FedEx.
Insane.
Like 6-day shipping and duties prepaid. So I was like, kind of no brainer. So that's on the cards. We're busy with the job. I think I've got a meeting today with the guy, but they want, I don't know if you saw those impeller things I was making.
Mhm.
a few weeks back, like a week ago. They want those for $45 each. So they're going to get told very politely where they can jump off a very tall bridge without a parachute. And yeah, we will update the pricing on that because they're not getting, they're straight up not getting it for that price. It's just not happening. There's 2 hours of machining on it already. And maybe we can get it down to an hour, but there's a bunch of stupid GD&T stuff on there that I actually don't want to deal with. They now want the parts CMM'd as well for that price. And I'm like, are you on drugs? And can I have some?
Right.
Like, and
I'll CMM them
what
for
they've
that
done,
price.
what they've gone and done is they've issued a PO for 350 assemblies. So it looks like a lot of money. But if you're losing money on every part, it's not a lot of money. Right. So, yeah, I'm going to have that conversation with that customer because I'm third on it's my customer's customer that's doing this, that's issuing the order. So my customer's doing the work and I'm doing the work for my customer. Mm-hmm. So I went to a meeting with them to go chat to these guys. And I'm like, no, these guys are pulling the piss. They're making 200-300% markup on this, if not more, and wanting it for free from us, like they can go elsewhere. They clearly can't get it elsewhere. That's why they're coming to us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they'd be lucky to have a complex part like that cast even. Yeah. For that price. Yeah. That's
so great. Like we got a quote from someone else and they wanted $500 for their part. Another guy quoted it at about $150, $160. And then they're like, no, it should be able to be done for this price. I was like, take your shit and shove it. Like,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Not interested. Yeah. Like it's stupid. But yeah. And then, busy with the anchor point 4, which is going to be exciting.
So that the 4 is a harbor and then you're going to
4 is a harbor because the 2 is a mooring, and then anchor is it's kind of themed.
And then you said you're going to add a 5th to this one too?
There's a 5th one that's going on the 4th axis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have 5 in my machine. Danica wants me to spin up the anchor point under a different brand umbrella as a nautical work holding. But currently there's just the one product planned for work holding, so I'm not too keen on spinning up a whole thing. I did look at making a pneumatic vise for a short while, but
kind of hard.
Pneumatic vise gets
at that point.
Oh no, I can beat them. That's not a problem. Even the anchor point, we make decent money on the anchor points.
Okay.
I quoted out some of the parts in China, they can't even compete. We are manufacturing the aluminium here. We've got one of the biggest aluminium refineries. Hulamin, so it's made locally, the aluminium, so we get it at a killer price.
Oh wow.
And then also I've optimized the manufacturing on it to a pretty decent degree at this point.
That's awesome.
So we manufacture the anchor points and we pay ourselves more than we bill out usually for machining, so it's worth it. If the sales can match, I'd rather make anchor points than deal with customers, with job shop customers.
That's fair.
Hopefully we will sell a bunch of anchor points because there is actually a special on the batch 1 anchor points. There's only 4 of them left. They're sitting in my packing room downstairs. And if you go on the website, you can get a deal. And if for some reason they all sell out and I forget to change it, there'll be deals. There'll be other purple ones at the same price.
Awesome.
Because I can't do specific stock controls as far as I know.
I fully support a nautical themed work holding brand. I think that would be great.
Oh no, the branding's all done already. There's logos, everything's all done. It's just the problem is then I've got to spin up another Insta account and another website and all that, and I'm just not
That's
interested.
Fair. Yeah.
Putting content on other, I've got the Bolt Belt Instagram, there's the Framelock Utility Knife Instagram, I don't post on them. It's the barrier is too high. Mm-hmm. Even in the workshop, I've got a PC for Trello. Turning the PC on, it's next to the mill, is too much effort.
Yep.
I
completely understand. Yeah.
I don't struggle with ADHD. I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah. Give me one CAM, metrology, or business tip or trick that helped you this week.
Well, you get one for each. Bore marks are made of magic. I've recently bought some bore marks, and it's so nice to just be to easily measure bores in specific ranges, like snap gauges and ball marks are for poor people. Bar actual bore marks, they're great. And then, it's all about relationships for business. Make friends with your customers and it will go a long way. And if you do good work, you'll be referred to more customers.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I 100% echo the bore mics. We've got, I'm missing one tiny range, but I have basically everything from, 100 thou to 2 inches. Because
Okay.
I could like
Nice.
absolutely scumbagged some guy on eBay and bought 2 or 3 of the sets for almost nothing. And I was like, I'll send him this offer. There's no way he's going to accept it. And then it was like, order processed. I was like, all right, I guess we got bore mics now. Cool.
Yeah, I found them from AliExpress for like super cheap.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I bought 2 of them. They were, I think, $150 for the 2. And then I bought gauge rings on the size I want to measure. So I can make sure that I don't trust their linearity.
Mhm.
So I bought a gauge ring right on the size I want to measure. So any linearity error will be minimized because I'm calibrating on the size. So
Smart. Are you
I
using
bought,
those for the pins in the anchor
yeah,
points?
I've got an 8 to 10 for the locating pin, and I've got a 14 to 17 for the retention stud holes.
Oh,
Those are 16H7, so I like to keep those nice and tight as well.
okay.
Those are the anchor point is designed that those are the only critical features in the entire assembly. Everything else is wide open.
I love that.
Pop a 2 of a mil and it's not going to be a problem.
Well,
Like,
and then you're
it's been, like I said,
grinding
designed
them
for
too, right?
manufacturing. So the pads get ground, then it gets assembled, put in upside down, clamping itself to a fixture I deck the fixture with the face mill. I go up, I clamp it, and then I deck it. So there's no tool changes. The only error is going to be my machine moving to
Right.
set the thickness, and that seems to be pretty consistent.
I like that. That's cool.
It was the best way I could come up with the equipment I have to establish that Z datum as accurately as I can. So I put the fixture in, I face the fixture, put the pull stud in, clamp it down, and then I machine the back. And then I'll batch them. So I'll do like 5 or 6 at a time just to make life easy.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, working with what you've got. Like, I don't want to buy a grinder to be able to grind these. I'd rather use them in the way they're going to be used. That way, if there's any stack up of errors in tram or anything, it's going to be nullified by that cut.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the theory behind it.
That's great. I really like that.
Yeah.
All right. What challenge are you facing and where are you looking for help?
Looking for help, yeah. Battling to sell anchor points. But I think that's also the tariff uncertainty is a huge thing right now. So we've actually added to our website an RFQ form. So you can request a quote and we'll load the shipping and see what the tariffs, and we can tell you upfront, this is how much shipping will be, including your tariffs prepaid. Because right now it's unknown. And I think that is really hurting the bottom line on those.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've got a bunch of them available, and I think they're a pretty compelling product, especially when you look at the long-term cost of use. Like, they're effectively free. So, yeah, I was shocked at the price of the pull studs for the 96mm system, and those are cheap ones I can get, not cheap, they're ones I can get locally.
Mhm.
But they're about on par with everyone else at about $70 a set.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, Langen HWR, I think, are the cheapest. And Langen's like $75 for 4. And then I want to say Fifth Axis is like in the hundreds of dollars, like $120 for 4.
It makes sense if you're doing huge volumes, but yeah, like the anchor points are aimed at the garage guys, is what it was initially aimed at.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, I've got a bunch of pallets. I've got racks arriving later today. I'll count how many pallets I have, but I've got 4 production pallets just for one customer. I've got 8 production pallets for the torque splits I make. Like, the pallet cost, the pull studs are cheap. Like, I'm getting them super cheap because I'm buying 50 at a time from China. Because again, you don't need the best quality pull stud. It's only got 300 kilos on it. It's not going to fail.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's going in a spindle, you kind of want a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's gonna fail.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What are you going to call the 4th Axis version? Tugboat?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to build a 4th axis version because, yeah, it's not its intended use case.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I designed a fixture for Jacob and EJ a little while ago that you put an anchor point sideways, and then on the back of your pallet you put a bunch of holes, and you can use it as a poor man's 4th axis.
I saw that.
And then
I really like that.
Yeah, I went and got a 4th axis. But again, it's got a tailstock support because of the loads involved. I was going to build one of those, and then I discovered that I could just buy a 4th axis.
Yeah.
So I did that instead.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, I've got ones that have got 15-degree increments. I've used that setup on a job where I needed to index 90 degrees to machine a giant piece of Delrin. That was longer than my machine's travel because when the guy said please, I said yes, and I should have told him to go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used
we learn.
that same trick and added material to parts before, where like if I had like in the past when I didn't have a fourth or a fifth, I would add an inch of stock to the part, machine in all of the pinholes and a center pinhole, do all the indexing, and then flip it over and deck off all of that extra material.
Yeah.
It works really well. But yeah, when you get a fourth, you're like, why would I ever do that again?
Exactly. Like, no, the fourth has spoiled me. Like, I've had a few jobs come through already that, I mean, there's one little PTFE part. It used to be 3 operations. It's now two work holdings, because we've got to hold it one way, we've got to hold it the other way, but then there's a cross hole. So now I just index 90 degrees, machine the next one, and poke that side hole in. It's great. Even this week, I've got to make some copper connectors, and they're all 2-op parts because I machine them slitting saw off, and then I have to machine a second op. Now I'm just going to put them in the fourth, machine them, rocket 90, put the slot, put the threaded hole, and then just use an end mill to tab it off. I mean, one and done. Like, why would I waste my time doing it in a second op? So the fourth axis is game changing. Like,
yeah, it really is.
Now everything's a fourth axis job.
All right, work-life balance. What does that mean to you, and how do you manage it? Is it any different from 5 or 10 years ago?
It's very different from 5 to 10 years ago, because 5 to 10 years ago, well, more than 5 years ago, but yeah, anyway, when I used to work, I would be overseas all the time. And that made it really difficult because, yeah, sure, I'm overseas. Like, in 5 weeks, I put on 10 kilograms in Poland.
Oh, wow.
Because we would go to site, work all day, have McDonald's for lunch because they had an aircon, so we'd go take a full hour lunch break, sit in the aircon, then go back to site, work till 4:30, go back to the hotel, have a shower, go down for dinner, have like 4 or 5 beers, like big drop. What's it? Pork shank cooked in beer with potatoes fried in duck fat every night for 5 weeks. And then you go and you sit in your room and you go to bed. Like, there's no balance. It's just work and eat.
Right.
Whereas now, like, we'll probably, what's today? Today's Wednesday. I know we got quiz night tonight. Tomorrow we'll probably take the dogs for a walk at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon when no one's at the dog park. Dana and I jump in the truck, take the dogs down, go walk the dogs. The dogs can go off lead because there's no one there. Kurt and I discussed this the other day. It's like, you go shopping. I don't go shopping on the weekend. No, that's when poor people go shopping. I go shopping during the week when no one's there. Like, that's one of the big things is my hours are my own.
Yeah.
I worked all weekend. I worked all last weekend because I don't get phone calls on a weekend. Like, my phone rings off the freaking hook because I do stupid shit. Like, I've got to go today to go and try and buy a secondhand M16 by 1.5 tap so I can finish an electrical panel for a retrofit that I'm helping out with. Like, I've got to go change motors on a machine. It's a stupid job. I make next to no money on it, but it's helping someone else, so I do it.
Yeah.
It literally, I'm going to go sit there for the morning and wire it up. It's not a huge job, but now I've got to go find a tap. And like, all these stupid things eat up my week, and then the weekends I don't get interrupted.
Yep.
So then, like, weekends, I'll put on the WAN show from Linus Tech Tips on a Saturday and in the workshop the whole day. I was machining Tufnell all weekend for the Tufnell parts. So yeah, I do a lot of my work on the weekends when I don't get harassed. But yeah, work-life balance, there's still a work-life balance. Like, tonight is quiz night. So 6 o'clock at the latest, I knock off and we go to quiz night. And yeah, go walk the dogs during the week. And yeah, I do a lot of stuff during the week that most people do on the weekends.
I'm right there with you. That kind of freedom is what makes owning your own business so great. It's like, I need
it's got its ups and its downs, but like, it's one of the major benefits is being able to just do shit when you want to do it.
Yep. Yeah. No bosses to ask for permission. You're just like, this needs to get done. It's going to get done. Cool.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like, if you need to work late, you work late because you need to. Like, you need to get the job done. And you're the one. That's the thing. Like, if I'm working overtime, it's because I'm the dickhead who promised that I would work overtime.
Yep.
It's not because my boss promised something that we can't actually deliver on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always this guy, me, that promises things that
who to blame.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You know who to blame. And that's the big thing, is knowing who to blame.
Yeah. All right. Second to last one. What thing that doesn't really pencil out that you've bought that you wouldn't be without just for the reduced aggravation, fatigue, or aversion?
So I built a tumbler in February, bigger tumbler, and I bought a fiber laser in November, both for a job that never came around. They were promised, and the job, if I was paying them promises, I'd be rich. I wouldn't be without either of those pieces of equipment now. The fiber laser is just, it's full of magic. Like, I do all sorts of stuff on it. And the big tumbler took tumbling time from like 2 hours down to 15 minutes on some of the parts.
Wow.
It's just that violent. Like even now, the mag bases I make, I don't even scotch brat. I just tumble them in the rough tumbler, and then I put them in my fine tumbler for like an hour, and they are good enough to go straight through anodized like that.
That's killer.
The big tumbler is full of magic. I make ball link things for access control mounts. Those come off the machine with their burrs on them and get thrown into the tumbler and come out all smooth. Like that thing is, it's full of magic. But they definitely don't pencil out because I never got that order that was promised.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, last up, what have you been Googling this week?
My Google box is currently empty because I did this on Monday night. And stupidly, I emptied my Google box. I nearly never did Wordle on Monday night, which would have been annoying. I woke up the next morning like, shit, I didn't remember to do it. So I changed the time on my phone and then did the previous day's one, then did the day's one.
My wife just missed her streak and was so pissed the other day. I was like,
I was going to be pissed. I'm at 86 or 87 now. Yeah, I lost my streak at 72 last time, and I was rather annoyed by that.
Yeah.
But that's part of my ritual in the morning is do the Wordle. And for some reason I didn't do it on Monday. My Google box is currently empty, but I can tell you what I have been searching is fourth axes and Siemens manuals because I want to know what my controller is actually capable of. And for anyone interested, you need the 840 or above to do full 5-axis simultaneous.
Yeah. +1 though is great for you.
4+1's fine. It'll do, I think it's 4+1, but I don't think they specify which is the one. Mm-hmm. So you can run either your XYZ-A as simultaneous or XYZ-B as simultaneous.
Right.
Or C, whatever. I don't actually know. I don't know if Trunnion's on the cards. We'll see. I got a price for one of those as well. Would make doing that other job super easy, but it's also a fair bit of money.
How much more was it? Because you said it was what, $4,500 for the fourth?
$12,000.
Okay, so it's a big step up.
Yeah, so it's a big step up, and then integration. It's additional licensing on the Siemens controller as well for additional axes, which between $300 and $600 per axis just for the license key.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I've got one license key for the spindle because the spindle is synchronous. Well, it's a drill tap machine. It can rigid tap. So you have to have a license for that. Then you have to add an additional license for every additional axis. And you can have up to 8 axes on this controller because it's the PPU 280. Kurt's got the 270, which the only manual I can find is in Chinese. And then there's the 260, and the 260 is 6 motors, 6 servos that you can run on it, on the system. So it's very interesting when you dive into all the bits and bobs about these different controllers and all the different options and the memory and tool numbers. Apparently, I can have 512 tools in my machine's memory.
That's pretty good.
Which is a fair amount.
Yeah. That's super cool.
And then mine's on the network, so it just pulls the code automatically.
Killer.
Which is the way to do it.
Oh, yeah. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much. Please plug all of your socials and your products and all that stuff. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, you can find me at JSpec_engineering on Instagram, Jamie DCO on YouTube. That's where the podcast goes up. And then the Lone Machinists podcast, or the Lone Machinist is our podcast. There's a website for that, thelonemachinists.com. If I've used any words you don't recognize, go check the website because there's a companion guide on there with all the fun and creative slang that I tend to use. Because it turns out my slang is very South African and very Durban because that's where I grew up. So like very regional. And then you can find the anchor point at jspeceng.com. There's RFQ form, there's online store, there's a bunch of shirts. I was told by my wife to plug the shirts. The shirts I'm wearing, this warranty ain't going to void itself, will be available for a week after this podcast comes out. So if you want to grab one, you can grab it. It's fulfilled by Printful, so it'll just ship from wherever in the world. And then there's a bunch of other shirts and cups and things available under the merch line.
Awesome.
But I think that about sums up all the things.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. Thanks to new Patreon members, Julian, D. Eric, and Howie. Y'all make this show possible along with everyone else. And thank you all for listening. I will be back next week.